Let's start recording the class. Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you had a very nice sleep last night. Today, we are going to continue talking about the geography of Egypt, okay? And also, we're going to talk about some of the pharaohs in those years. Now, remember, guys, keep this in mind. You have already your assignment in the platform, guys. The vocabulary is over here. Vocabulary is on page 104, 104. There are like, I don't remember how many words from the vocabulary. And also, after this chapter, the assignment, guys, okay, the assignments. And that assignment is on page, let me tell you, if it begins in 104, 104, then So on the assignment is on page 109, 109. Okay. Now you only need to answer only this one. Number 1, A, B, and C. Number 2, A, B. Number 3, B, and number 4. Those are the only questions that you need to answer, guys. Okay. Now, also over here, you see there's the PowerPoint that I am going to use, or we are using it. It says we are using it in order to explain this class, okay? So don't worry, okay? Now remember vocabulary. This is the title, Geography on Early Egypt. Remember, you need to write it, and then the vocabulary, write all the vocabulary, and also the assessment. That's the pattern that we need to follow always. Every chapter. Yes.
El vocabulario solamente.
¿Qué pasa con el vocabulario?
Ya lo hice.
No, tranquilo. Yo solamente tienen que hacerlo. No me tienes que decir a mí. Teacher, ya yo lo hice. No tienes que decirme. Si lo hizo, se queda calladito, tranquilito y fantástico.
Teacher.
Estoy recordando a ustedes lo que tienen que hacer, ¿ya?
Teacher, yo no tengo mi cuaderno porque lo dejé a la escuela.
Bueno, vas a tener que conseguir, dígale, mamá, cómprame un cuaderno, o agarra un cuaderno viejo y ahí copia todo, ¿entendido? La vida está llena de problemas. Si está el cuaderno en la escuela, no importa, se compra otro cuaderno y se reemplaza, ¿ya? No se preocupe por eso, ¿ya? Que vaya a La Rocha o a que compre un cuaderno y ahí continúa. Comenzamos el segundo trimestre, ¿entendido? Chévere, chévere. O si no, agarra otro cuaderno y la mitad del cuaderno lo usa para eso. La cosa que tiene que tener todo en orden. ¿Entendido? Entonces, chicos, remember the vocabulary, the key terms, and also the assessment that you need to do it in your notebook, Okay, guys? Now, let's begin the class. Let me see if I open the PowerPoint, Egyptian, this one. No, it is. Oh, my God. I thought I opened it already. But anyway, let's wait until it's open already. Excellent. Okay, I think we spoke already several things about the Egypt, the area, the Nile, and also remember that was divided in two sections. Remember, lower and upper Egypt. I think we finished over here. We finished this. Remember the crown that they were wearing. The crown that they were wearing. The white one belongs to the upper Egypt, and the red one belongs to the lower Egypt. And then eventually the upper dominate the lower Egypt, and they turn into one big kingdom. And then they wear both crowns like this, the crown of United Egypt. So they united, okay? Now let's move on. Now, many histories consider Menes to be the Egyptians' first pharaoh. Menes. This is the first pharaoh, Mr. Menes. Okay, you see. Okay. Here. According to the tradition, around 3,900 BC, Menes rose the power in Upper Egypt, and they fought with the Lower Egypt, and at the end they turned into one unified Egypt. Okay. Okay. Now Menes is the first they are considered like he's the first pharaoh in Egypt. Many historians consider that Menes to be the, now if you look and you type in Google, they will mention another person. But anyway, with the historian, according to them, Menes is the first Egyptian pharaoh. The title used by the rulers of Egypt. Now the title pharaoh means great house. Now if I ask you what is the meaning of pharaoh, means great house, una gran casa. The pharaoh ruled over Egypt with total control. Egyptians believed that the pharaoh acted as a mediator between the people and the gods. Now remember, in Egypt they had a lot of gods. God for the wind, God for water, God for love, God for war. For everything they had one God, okay? So they were polytheism. Ellos eran politeístas. Ellos adoraban a diferentes dioses. Nosotros los católicos somos monoteístas. We only believe in one God, okay? The Egyptians believed that the pharaoh acted as a mediator, entre un mediador entre la gente y los dioses, okay? Menes founded Egyptian first dynasty. Now, Menes, él inició la primera dinastía, la dinastía de los faraones. Él lo inició, Menes, la familia de Menes. A series of rulers from the same family. Y por supuesto, el hijo de él iba a ser también faraón, y el hijo del hijo de él también iba a ser faraón, y así continúa toda una dinastía. Eso se le llama una dinastía de los Menes, ¿ok? Under dynasty rule was really passed from generation to the next generation. Pasaba de generación en generación. Menes built a new capital city at the south of tip of Nile Delta. The city was later named Memphis. Vamos a enseñarle a dónde quedaba Memphis, que era la capital. Vamos a ver acá un mapa donde aparece Memphis. Aquí, mire chicos, aquí donde dice la estrella. Aquí donde está la estrella. Aquí quedaba Memphis. Esa fue la capital de Menes, de cuando él unió los dos, Lower and Upper Egypt. Y se convirtió en una sola nación. ¿Entendido? Muy bien, let's go back. Let's go back, ajá. Menes, Alan Ramirez arrived. Ramirez, let me see Ramirez. Alan Ramirez, perfecto. But let's continue, Delta. The city was named Memphis. For centuries, Memphis was the political and cultural center of Egypt. Now over here, there is the capital, Memphis, the same picture. Now, the first dynasty lasted, la primera dinastía duró for about 200 years. So, duró más o menos como 200 años, la dinastía de los Menes, okay? Menes, the Menes. Rulers who came after Menes also wore a double crown. Acuérdense que la double crown era los dos colores. Okay. Double crown. Eventually symbolized both Upper and Lower Egypt. Eventually, however, rivals arose to change the first dynasty of power. This challenger took over Egypt and established the second dynasty. They began, entonces comenzó la nueva dinastía. Now, let's stop right here, guys. And I found a film, not a film. It's in YouTube a video that talks about the crowns and also the Menes. I want to watch this one first and they talk over here in this video, talk about this, the first pharaoh, Menes, okay? Let's see what they got, or they know, or they tell us about Menes, okay?
32nd BC, ancient Egypt was not a united kingdom, divided into Upper Egypt in the south, and Lower Egypt in the north. The terms Upper and Lower Egypt do not derive from where they are on a map that has north at the top. Instead, they are derived from how the Nile River flows. When we talk about rivers, up is upstream, nearer to the source of the river. Down is downstream, farther away from the source. The Nile River flows from south to north. Therefore, the Upper Nile is south of the Lower Nile. Upper and Lower Egypt were named because they were on the Upper and Lower Nile. Lower Egypt lies between the fertile Nile Delta and the Mediterranean Sea, developing agriculture, raising livestock, and hunting. It had a strong economy due to its fertile soil. The king wore a red crown, took the snake as a guardian god, and took the bee as his national emblem. Upper Egypt in the south. The king wore a white crown, took the white lotus as the national emblem. Upper Egypt benefited from the trade network, developed a wealth and stable financed economy. Upper Egypt experienced more development than its neighbor, probably because of its trade relations with other cultures. The population of this region was most likely growing quite fast as well. All these factors eventually prompted its rulers to venture out beyond its borders. Upper and Lower Egypt, these two regions were always fighting. They spoke the same language. They worshipped the same gods. They had the same culture. But, for reasons, they could not get along until 3100 BC, when Upper Egypt became powerful and wealthy. The king of Upper Egypt at that time, Menes, personally brought troops to defeat Lower Egypt. The final battle took place right on the triangle of the Nile, where two armies fought 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, the Upper Egyptian army won. King Menes finally united that Egypt became the first pharaoh of ancient Egypt, Pharaoh Nahma. These two regions were combined into one country, but the people kept fighting amongst themselves. To help his people think of themselves as one people, the king had a special crown made, a double crown, red and white crown symbolizing the unity of ancient Egypt, and it did the trick. The people started calling their combined land the Two Lands. The Two Lands became known as Egypt. The land where the last battle occurred was built by Menes to make it the largest city in ancient times. It was named after Menes and becoming the capital of ancient Egypt.
This is crazy. Now I have another one, guys. I think we have time. Yes, I'm gonna watch this one. In this video, they talk about the crown, different crown. As you see, there are different crowns. This was for the lower, and this one's for no, this one I think was for the upper, and this one was from the lower. And over here, as you see, is the mix of both. Now they mention over here about this one and this one. I don't know about those ones. And let's see what they talk about these crowns. Okay.
Ancient Egyptian crowns. Ancient Egyptians have number of different crowns that could be worn by the kings, the gods, and the royal women. The most frequently depicted, and easily recognizable of the crowns worn by the kings of ancient Egypt were the red crown, Deshret, crown of Lower Egypt, the white crown, Jet, crown of Upper Egypt, and the double crown, Shant, symbolizing the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. In ancient Egypt, there were a number of different types of crowns, mostly worn by gods, kings, and queens, and sometimes their children. Sometimes, as in the case of the red and white crowns, they could also be combined to form a special symbolism, such as in this case, the unity of Upper and Lower Egypt under one ruler. Gods and kings were never represented without one, because they indicated important aspects of both royalty, divinity, and of Egypt itself. Crowns and headdresses were mostly made of organic materials and have not survived, but we know what they look like from many pictures and statues. The best known crown is from Tutankhamun's golden death mask. This was called the Nem's crown, shown above, and was made of striped cloth. It was tied around the head, covered the neck and shoulders, and was knotted into a tail at the back. The brow was decorated with the uraeus, a cobra, and vulture. The political and religious significance of crowns for the image of the king can be inferred from the fact that different headdresses were favored in different periods. Thus, some types of crown do not appear in the Amarna period. As an example, Akhenaten's Queen Nefertiti wore crowns confined to the king in other periods, such as the cap crown, and new crown types were invented for her, apparently to symbolize her expanded role. Funerary literature from the period of the Pyramid and coffin texts on providence that crowns are an important role to play, and he writes of passage that transform the deceased into an inhabitant of the sky, endowing him with divine attributes such as radiance. They both lean the dead king to the gods of the sky and impart to him authority over them. The crowns were symbols of wealth and power, which had to be given up when one was defeated in battle. They were used to show appreciation for services rendered when they were bestowed upon deserving soldiers or officials. They were a means to impress one's status, one's dominance, and one's opulence upon others by distributing them as largesse.
Okay, let's stop right here. Okay, guys, I think that's it for today. It's 9:40. You have 5 extra minutes. Remember, you need to complete the vocabulary. If you did it, excellent. If you did it, excellent. And also complete the assessment questions, okay? Remember, in the platform is already all the assessment questions, so please work on those assessment questions. Understood, guys? Any question, any other questions? Anybody has any question, guys? No questions? Okay, okay. Then let's stop right here, and then I'll see you next week. Remember, wash your hands, behave, try to help in house, okay? Help